What you do makes a difference, but you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. My name is Christine Mutindi, and I am joined by a person who wants to make a very great difference in terms of environment, and that is none other than Mr. Daniel Wanjuki. And now, just as we continue with our conversation, Mr. Daniel, you were telling us about river cleaning, and you have explained to us about EcoTreat waste digester and about the innovation that won an award out of 67 countries.
Correct.
And you scored #1 for the best innovation.
Great.
Without a competitor so far. And also I have seen that you also have awards from the National Environmental Management Authority, and that is NEMA, right here in Kenya.
Indeed, yes. I actually consult for NEMA Kenya, NEMA Uganda, and NEMSC in Tanzania. But here in Kenya, I've worked very closely with NEMA because from the start, it's NEMA that plunged me into waste management in 2009 when we had issues of our slaughterhouses having...
Slaughterhouses, yes.
They used to
emit a lot of smell.
And NEMA would close them, and then they would be opened after 60 days or 90 days. And kind of the operators got tired of it, and they demanded from NEMA a solution.
Yes.
I had just put my master's project through to NEMA for approval to use bacteria for slaughterhouse waste management because I had succeeded in Kitengela. And so I was quickly thrust into the limelight, and they put under the bus. You go do what you say you can do with
do
those,
your best,
all those slaughterhouses that you have said you can help.
Yes.
And we actually got into contractual agreement between us, myself, my company, NEMA, and the operators, the Dagoretti slaughterhouses, Kiserian, areas like Ongatarongai, Sultan Hamud, Kitengela, Namanga, Bisiri. Or we had to do make contracts.
Contractual agreements, yes.
Contract. And I actually managed those sites for more than, now it's going to 14 years.
So during this time that the NEMA had closed down, they were consulting you on how to clean them?
No, they didn't actually know about us. It's only that I was actually in college. I was doing my second year for my master's.
Wow.
When one of the engineers at NEMA came across my proposal. And so he said, this someone's claiming he can control slaughterhouse waste, and that he has done some trials in Kitengela. So I was called. I was told, okay, you want us to approve? Yes, we have approved. Can you now go and do the necessary? So
can you do the necessary? Yes.
So I went to those slaughterhouses and sorted them out. Since that time, you only hear about them on prosperity, how they have prospered in doing biogas systems, which I helped them do, how they have prospered in improving, getting energy, extra energy for cooling their meat. They have chillers that use biogas. So it was a success story. Since that time, you never hear them being closed down. Unless a management of a single slaughterhouse. But others are okay. I still help them in managing waste. Like if you think of Kitengela slaughterhouse, we are still working very closely with them. They use my product on a weekly basis. So that has been very successful. When you come to using the product again for wastewater recycling, it's been very successful. Me in Kajiado, go to a place called Ensura Hotel, just before Kajiado town. You have a hotel that sits right in the center of nowhere, very dry place.
Yes.
And the greenery is astounding. Once you're inside, you actually think that you're in somewhere in Rimundu.
The best place.
Yeah, with a lot of greenery. They cannot sustain that with the borehole water. When you think of the river here, we have several estates that run on our system. So we have been very successful in actually recycling wastewater, and even NEMA themselves, NEMA Kenya, uses my system for their green points. If you go to Kajiado town, you'll find a very big banner in their library, sitting right across. When you enter, it's the first thing you find. And
so Mr. Daniel Wanjuki, you were telling me about the NEMA and how they consult you for waste management. Is it solid waste management or both? Because we have solid and liquid waste management.
I happen to be in both because, okay, I do consultancy. Okay, when they're constructing their green points, these are the environmental friendly constructions that they are doing in all counties, so that when you want to do a building in Kajiado, you go to Kajiado town and you look at how they have done their building. It's a building that require no lighting during the day. They do solar water heating. They have solar energy for lighting. And they have wide walls with the grass, so that you can do whatever you want to do. You can study without requiring to put on lights during the day. They call them the NEMA green points. I've been involved in designing for their wastewater management, where we assist in that septic tank, which actually give clean water at the end of the process. One of the most successful is in Iten, is Elgeyo Marakwet, the county of Elgeyo Marakwet. And in Iten, where they have the Stadium of Champions, it's called Kamarini Stadium, where Kamarini Stadium sits one of the side where they have the terraces is the NEMA office. And they are able to use that water for greening the terraces. Wow. The green within the stadium. So these are just an example that organizations can actually influence what is happening around them by actually introducing new technologies. People call me from Iten and tell me, I want to do a system like the one that was done at NEMA. And I give them the consultancy on how to construct one, and we send them a product, Ecotrade. So it's a way of spreading the word by making good examples. We have done similar green points at in Homa Bay, Nandi County. We've done besides Elgeyo Marakwet, that is in 10. We have also done in Kalau, in Nyandarua, and we are doing the same in Maralal. Yeah. The same. Once a green point is done, and it is able to make people change their way of looking at buildings, like now doing solar water heating, solar lighting, greening the environment by recycling water. That's a positive way of impacting on the environment. That's what we have done with NEMA. They have also, whenever they encounter tough cases where waste, they have their own, maybe the other option is close down the factory. They call me and I help the clients to comply. We've done the same with several meat factories in Nairobi, several tanneries. We have done with breweries. We have done the same with the estates that have issues with wastewater management. So that's another way. My company, Ecosave Africa, has worked closely with my company. Ecosave Africa has partnered with NEMA on several occasions during their exhibitions, during their trainings, and also I've sponsored several of their events. I'm a part of the National Environment, that is the World Environment Day.
World Environment Day. Yes, I have heard of that. Yes.
I have been a committee member for the last about 9 years. And it's a steering committee that is always, we always come to the occasion during the World Environment Day. And also assist in other events where NEMA needs to give out the best practice, in the best practice technologies in waste management. I also happen to be the national chair of the public-private partnership in waste management. The public-private partnership in solid waste management. We assist in creating the circular economy, where we help organizations, youth groups, and anybody who is willing to work with waste to create value, to help them to get the technologies they require, to help them in achieving what they want to do with minimal cost, and even funding comes through when an organization comes through asking for the same. So I've been involved in that also. I'm also the chair to an organization, an NGO called Samawati Social Ecology. We is an international organization. We are trying to create the blue economy, Samawati.
Blue economy,
Yeah, where we want to encourage as much as possible that materials are recycled before we lose them to dump sites or to rivers.
To rivers,
Yeah,
yes.
that's where we would like to promote the solid waste management. And we're working closely with the dump site in Kitengela. We also working with the garbage collectors in Nairobi.
Yes.
And also here in Kitengela, we're also encouraging that recycling of resources to just make things better, because this year the fertilizer will be very expensive.
Yes.
If you're from a maize growing or wheat growing region, there's no fertilizer this year because something happened in Russia.
Ukraine and Russia, yes, the Ukraine
and so
war, yes.
we're trying to encourage people who can get compost, manure. We have a lot of manure in Kajiado. Almost every other Manyata has
Manure,
has
yes.
manure, and it's called composting in a bad way, because it's composting in a way that's actually generating methane gas. But if you could enable those farmers, those pastoralists, to actually make pellets from
the composite manure,
compost,
yes.
Yeah. They'll sell it at a better price than fertilizer. Because believe it or not, what they sell to us as fertilizer from Europe is actually has a very big component of their sewage.
Yes.
And the amount of minerals in one 50 kilogram bag is less than 1 kg of ammonia,
yes.
or phosphate.
Yes.
The rest is filler material, which could be stuff that
that is carcinogenic and can cause cancer.
And also damage our soil.
Our soil, yes.
Making our soil acidic. But manure compacted from the farm into pellets that can be able to be applied through the machines. Will actually earn the local community youths and the disadvantaged people who may not be able to set up big industries, a source of income.
Afford manure for their shambas as well.
Yeah, the person selling molasses here in Kitengela or hay should exchange with a bag of
composite manure that has from pellets.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that way we are actually going to the circular economy, and we avoid extractive industries that are polluting the environment, make it difficult for us to get rain.
Yes, and I see now where your slogan comes in, giving the nature a chance to fight for itself.
It's giving nature a fighting chance.
A fighting chance.
Nature will, in normal circumstances, survive even when we are not there.
Yes.
But we normally set it aside.
Let it aside and do our thing.
We want to do our thing. But if you just sit back and let nature take its course,
yes,
you are okay. Our farms are bare because every time we go to Kisiland, we bring in bananas.
Bananas.
With the wrappings.
The wrappings,
And then when we bring them to Marikiti, we pick those, and the bananas and the avocados and all that waste. Instead of taking it back to where it came from, we take it to Dadora.
Yes.
In Dadora, we create a stink. It's smelling, it's rotting, it's fires start on their own.
And then it goes for miles.
Yeah.
It occupies a bigger chunk of land. That is not necessary.
True.
Yes.
You would actually prefer, would have thought it would be better if we composted it. Farmers would benefit if we composted our market waste and took it back to them. They would use it for growing vegetation, recycling the material back into where nature wanted them to be. And our rivers would not be having the kind of stuff we have today. Sewage should not go to disposal site like what we see in Uruguay. Instead, that sewage should be treated as close as possible to where it's generated, and the water allowed to percolate to the ground. That way you actually recharge the groundwater reservoir. That way, that water, that few kilometers down this way, someone will still use that water for drinking, because it's gone through ground filtration. Then when you think of recycling of materials, plastics are nice. So there's even a convention going on trying to ban plastic. We know we banned plastic in 2017, but other countries actually are excited that they can actually ban plastic.
Ban plastic.
Single-use plastic. But plastic, when you think about it, it's a big nuisance. Personally, I know we can do without glass bottles or plastic bottles because glass bottles would still serve.
Yes.
There's a generation after my generation that believes that plastic is everything. We want our bread in a naked plastic.
Yes, a clear
bag.
plant bag,
Yeah,
yes.
as if it's
We
not
want
bad
our food
enough.
covered in foil paper that is plastic as well.
Exactly. Then those are things we need to get rid of. You have a glass, paper cups that last only a few minutes when you use it and it's good
Yes.
on. That plastic paper, or that cup will remain there for another 100 years. If it's not exposed to the sunshine where it's likely to be broken down through UV lighting, the UV light, it's actually able to stay at the bottom of the
At
river
the bottom of the river.
for years, for 200 to 300, 500 years. And the worst part of it is this process is also heading up in the river. And as it is going to be tossed, as it's tossed down the river, all the way from Nairobi to the coast, by the time it reaches the coast, it's actually fiber.
Fiber.
Very, very minute material. When this material ends up in the ocean,
Please do not go anywhere. Be part of this conversation by calling in our numbers 0706 083 050 or texting us on our social media platforms, and that is at Shani TV on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Do not go anywhere.